Hello everyone, welcome to StudyIQ. So in this video lecture, we will discuss about changing dynamics of India and Russia relationship. We will discuss about that how in the changing geopolitical environment, what are the factors which are impacting the relationship between these two countries. And what factors these two countries need to consider in order to cement their relationship. So we will discuss all these points. This video lecture is presented by me. My name is Saurabh Pandey. You can download the PPT of this lecture from my Facebook page. My ID is Saurabh Pandey 009. If you are preparing for any of these UPSC optional subjects like geography, psychology, sociology, philosophy or public administration, you can avail our pen drive courses. To know about these courses, you can visit StudyIQ.com. So let's start this topic. So why we are discussing this particular topic? Because recently this bilateral summit was held in New Delhi. 19th bilateral summit was held in New Delhi between India and Russia, and many of the international experts they have analyzed what the joint statement which was published by these two countries. When I'm saying joint statement, it means what? The statement put forward by these two countries, it included certain points on which these two countries agreed. So once these points were analyzed by the international experts, what they have concluded that after reading these points or the statements which are mentioned in joint statement, they have developed a kind of a mixed feeling, because there are inclusion of certain good points, like for example this missile system, the agreement as per which Russia has agreed to supply this missile system to India, but also there are certain points which have been excluded. So because of this factor, a mixed feeling has been developed among the international experts. So let's try to understand the factors which are actually shaping the relationship between India and Russia. So in order to understand the relationship between India and Russia, and what we are aspiring, that India and Russia need to develop a very good relationship. But in order to develop a good relationship between these two countries, means India and Russia, there are certain constraints. First is India's inclination towards USA. Again, there is a perception among international experts or perception in international community that by signing agreements like LEMOA, Logistic Exchange Memorandum of Agreement, by signing this particular agreement, it seems that India has shown its inclination towards USA. Now, if this is the factor, then again we can say that India is moving away from its NAM principle. So as per NAM principle, India has always maintained its independent foreign policy. It has never shown its inclination towards any of the poles of power. If you see the word scenario, the poles of power are again USA and Russia. So India has always maintained an independent foreign policy. Now, second point that we need to understand is that because India is showing an inclination towards USA, this is compelling Russia to develop again a good relationship, or to show its inclination towards China and Pakistan. You must have heard that even Russia has conducted a military exercise with Pakistan. At the same point of time, Russia also agreed to supply defense equipment to China. Now, this changing relationship dynamics is also impacting the relationship between India and Russia. The third factor, which is again impacting the relationship between India and Russia, is the acrimonious relationship between USA and Russia. These are the two poles of power that exist in the 21st century. The upcoming poles of power is China. Now you have what? Acrimonious relationship between Russia and USA. You have this trust deficit between these two countries. The same thing is visible between India and China, you have the trust deficit. Although we can say that India and China has good economic relationship, but once we talk about good political relationship, now we can say that there is a large scope to develop a good political relationship. Now all these factor means we can say dynamics of relationship that is visible between India and USA, India and China, USA and China, Russia and China, again China and India, is somehow impacting the relationship between India and Russia. So if India has to develop a good relationship with Russia, or Russia has to develop a good relationship with India, then both these countries need to find a way in order to tackle the dynamics of these relationship. Now let's try to understand the factors which are impacting the relationship between India and Russia. The first point is before this 19th bilateral summit, that both these countries will include in the joint statement that they will not accept the sanction put by other country. It means what? If a sanction has been imposed by United Nations, then that sanction will be accepted and abided by India and Russia. If the sanction is imposed by countries like USA, then that sanction will not be accepted or abided by India and Russia. Now this kind of statement was accepted, but out of the expectation, this particular thing was not included in the joint statement. And the international experts, what they have said is what? India also want to maintain good relationship with USA at the same point of time, and Russia also wants to avoid any situation which could further develop a trust deficit between USA and Russia. Next aspect is about defense deals. Now if you see different areas in which both India and Russia are cooperating and coordinating at the international level or at the bilateral level, the most important aspect at the bilateral level is defense deal. In the joint statement, Russia has agreed to supply S-4 missile system to India. Now this is a big boost for India, mainly for India's Air Force. At the same point of time, what other argument put forward by the international experts, what they are saying, that before this 19th bilateral summit, it was also expected that Russia will also provide Kamov helicopter. At the same point of time, this Kalashnikov, which is a kind of a rifle to India. But because of a growing trust deficit between India and Russia, these two agreements relating to Kamov helicopter and this rifle, these two agreements were not signed. International experts, what they are saying that this has happened mainly because there is a perception among certain diplomats and bureaucrats and political leaders in Russia that India is moving away from Russia, and it is showing inclination towards USA. It is developing a kind of a military alliance with USA. Now because of this perception, this growing perception, Russia has shown resistance in supplying such kind of defense equipment to India. Now next factor is of Iran. Now in this map you can see this is Iran, and this Iran is very important not only for India but also for Russia. Now India is developing a Chabahar port in Iran, and through this Chabahar port it will reduce the dependency of Afghanistan on Pakistan, which will again provide India a kind of a strategic advantage, because Afghanistan can use this Chabahar port. It will not depend on Pakistan's Karachi port. So by using this Chabahar port, India will again have a huge strategic advantage. Second point is that by using this Chabahar port and again this corridor, that is international north-south transport corridor, India will try to reach the Central Asian market. Now, if India will be able to explore this Central Asian market, Central Asia means all these countries, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, all these are Central Asian countries. If India is able to reach or explore the market of these Central Asian countries, now it will boost India's economy. At the same point of time, it will also help India to develop its nuclear energy, because countries like Kazakhstan, they can supply these raw materials, or we can say things like uranium, which is again required to develop nuclear energy. At the same point of time, Russia will also be able to connect by using this international north-south transport corridor. Russia will also be able to connect with the Central Asian countries, again with India. A physical connectivity could be established between Russia and India as well by using these kind of a corridor. Now, if you have a good economic relationship between India and Russia, and also between India and Central Asia, Russia, Central Asia and India, India and China, and Russia and China, then this will help to shift power from the west towards east. Now, because of the sanction imposed by USA, it is again expected that this project, international north-south transport corridor, this will be delayed. Now, if this will be delayed, then it will also impact again the economic ambition not only of Russia but also of India. Now, these two factors are also impacting the relationship between India and Russia, because again Russia is favoring this joint comprehensive plan of action, comprehensive plan of action, this JCPOA. This was signed in the year 2015 between P5+1, means these 5 permanent member of United Nations Security Council, and one more member, that is Germany, with Iran. And by signing this agreement or this plan of action, what happened, that certain rules, regulation and limitations were imposed on Iran in order to guide the nuclear program of Iran. Now suddenly what USA said, that it will not abide this plan of action, and it has imposed sanction on Iran. Russia and other countries, what they have said, they have simply said that they will abide this plan of action and they will support Iran. Now, because of this two different approach followed by Russia and USA, there is a kind of a rift between these two countries, and now India has to take decision whether it will show its inclination towards Russia or its inclination towards USA, or it will maintain an independent foreign policy. Now this dynamics is also impacting the dynamics of relationship between India and Russia. Next is about Indo-Pacific region. When we talk about Indo-Pacific regions, Indo-Pacific region means Indian Ocean region plus Western Pacific Ocean region and Central Pacific Ocean region. This whole region we call it as a Indo-Pacific region. Now if you see this region, in this region we can see that the influence of China is continuously increasing. Even in Indian Ocean region, the influence of China is continuously increasing. Now India need to limit the influence of China in this region in order to protect its strategic interest. Because of this ambition, India is trying to form a quad. We can say accord with countries like USA, Japan, Australia, France, so that it could limit the influence of China in this region. Because we have this example in South China Sea region, that if China gain its influence in a particular region, then it could impact the freedom of navigation. Now if the freedom of navigation is impacted, then it could again impact the economic activities, the trade, the movement of ship in this region. So again, all these countries, not only USA or Japan, Australia, or France and India, they wants to limit the influence of China in Indo-Pacific region. Now, because of this possibility of formation of Quad between India and USA plus other powers, there is again a perception in Russia that India is trying to form a kind of an anti-Russia alliance in Indo-Pacific region, or we can say anti-China alliance in Indo-Pacific region. And this factor is bringing these two countries, Russia and China, closer. Now, this thing is also impacting the dynamics of relationship between India and Russia. So we have to consider this factor as well. So if you are preparing for UPSC, then the question can be asked in GS paper 2. You have this module, international relationship. So the question can be asked in GS paper 2. So I hope this video lecture will help you to understand the changing dynamics in the relationship between India and Russia. Thank you for watching the video.